What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Le Poussin Rouge, and today we're here with Marcus of Shattered Sun. So great to be able to talk to you today, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I know that you are working on some new music right now. Are you intending to make like a direct follow-up to The Evolution of Anger, or is this new record going to kind of stand out a little bit more in its own right?
I think it's definitely going to stand out on its own right, simply because we've had some lineup changes, and instead of just doing the normal replace members, we actually just decided to change our philosophy a little bit, change our sound a little bit, tweak things to adjust to the new members, to the new drummer and guitar player. And honestly, man, this is the most exciting. And I know most bands say that, but this is by far the most exciting stuff that we've done so far.
Yeah. Well, I feel like while it was always Shattered Sun, I feel like Hope Within Hatred and The Evolution of Anger had some similarities, but some differences
Absolutely.
as well. You guys aren't like a one-trick pony. You don't have like a formula you stick with, right?
Absolutely, man. I think that's pretty evident in the set that we're playing on this tour. We open with Keep Your Eyes Shut, which is the thrashiest song we have, but then we play something like Shades of Melody, which is probably like our best ballad. Mm-hmm. So it's we like to balance it, and we like to be what we set out to be when we started, which is kind of all of the bands that we grew up loving rolled into one,
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, your music has many different sounds, but many different emotions as well. Like going back to Hope Within Hatred, you have this very melodic, very powerful song, but then you have the Return to the Serenity cover that gets you high just by listening to it.
Exactly, man. It's an honor to been able to cover that song. It's done really great things for us, man. I mean, it opened up a lot of doors to a whole different audience all over the world. Even, I was able to do it in Spanish and release it to Mexico and South America and Latin America. And, man, it's just crazy the response that song has gotten for us. It's probably our most successful song. Well, testament anyway.
There you go. Now, one thing I was curious about for you as a vocalist, do you need to hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or do you sometimes have a concept or a story and that can maybe help determine the outcome of the whole music?
Definitely both. I definitely love hearing tracks because I feel like when you hear the track, it takes you kind of to a different place emotionally. But, again, with songs like Shades of Melody, I wrote the lyrics to that without even hearing the song. I wrote it the night after my daughter was born in the hospital, and I think it's just you kind of have to weigh it out. You know what I mean? Some stories like 281 from the first record, I didn't have a song to write that to. I just kind of wrote that on my notepad while I was missing, home. You know what I mean? So it's definitely both sides of the fence for me, but anytime I can hear a song that'll take me somewhere, that's kind of what I like.
Yeah, there you go. And are you always worried if you write lyrics beforehand, it's going to go one syllable over the actual arrangements?
Yeah, well, no, I don't really think about that. I'll whatever producer I'm with, I'll let them ream my ass about that. But no, I'm definitely not somebody that writes for a particular rhythm or a particular song. I just kind of write and let the music take me where it does, and I figure that's where the producer comes in, and to help me kind of piece things and edge out these cadence and lyrics and stuff like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you like to leave the lyrics open to interpretation, or would you like it for maybe a listener to sort of see things from your point of view when you put your music out there?
I would say both. Sometimes I kind of refer to it as like I'm a selfish writer where I just kind of want the audience member to feel where I'm coming from. But then there's also situations like, again, to 281, that's a song about a highway that we drive home to. And it's funny because we've the furthest we've been in Canada, Quebec, I had people coming up to me last night, talking in French about how they interpreted the song and how they saw it. So it's incredible, man. And I definitely love to see where fans, interpret these things because it's not always that way,
Of course. And can that change your perception on how you view yourself as an artist, or even how you look at that song?
Absolutely. I wrote, again, 281, or Take It to Shades of Melody. I wrote that about my daughter and my experience becoming a father for the first time. And it's just been crazy that every night, I'll say a little speech about it, or, how about, it changed my life. And just people come up to me, older guys, younger guys, and say, hey, I felt that way too. And they tell me their experience with it, and it's touching, man. I love it, and I love to hear where the fans come from with it.
Yeah. Now, Shattered Sun has played with many different styles of bands. Like, you've done Mayhem Fest, like opening for, like, Thy Art is Murder and Whitechapel, but then you've toured with Soulfly and Soilwork, but then you've toured with Scar Symmetry. You've toured with many different styles. Have you noticed maybe, like, a different type of crowd or different reaction depending on, like, the tours or bills that you're on?
Absolutely. I always put it to our first tour that we were thrown out in. We put it in the fire the first tour out of the gate with Testament and Exodus. And I'll never forget the first night of that tour. We were opening up in San Francisco, Bay Area thrash central, and I just
the Lions
yeah,
Den.
just thrown right into the fire, man. I'll never forget the crowd chanting Exodus right before we got on. And but what I learned from that tour, man, is you got to go earn it every night, whether it's from a thrash crowd, whether it's from the Thy Art crowd, the King Diamond crowd, the Soulfly crowd, even the band we're on tour with right now, Evergrey. They're very progressive metal. It's a different style of metal, but the thing I love about our band, man, is we're able to relate to every single different market, and it just goes back to our roots of how we started. We wanted to be all the different bands that we grew up loving. You know what I mean? All rolled into one.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. So, and the final question I want to ask you is, it's always the most difficult question I ask every musician. That's why I love asking it. How do you know when a song is done?
Man, when the producer stops yelling at me. No,
that's the best answer ever.
No, man, it's hard to tell. Just to put it to our new single Shades, I knew that song was done before I even put the words down on it, man. Before I even sang it in the studio, I just envisioned it in my head, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna be it, and it comes in different instances. Like Hope Within Hatred, that's probably our biggest single. Man, that took us a month to do it right, you know what I mean, everything. But then a song like Shades took us a day. So it's it varies, but that's the beauty of music, man. You get to express yourself in all different kinds of ways and all different kinds of forms.
There you go. So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. It's going to be a kick-ass show.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Is there just anything else you would like to promote in terms of tours, or when can we be expecting the new Shattered Sun record?
Yeah, we have some things going on behind the scenes, but we're looking to have our new record out in January or February of next year, and doing all the touring, going over the pond, maybe going to Mexico and stuff like that, Latin America. And just get ready for a new Shattered Sun. That's all I got to say. New
Awesome.
Shattered Sun.
Starting the new decade off right.
Exactly. It starts tonight.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Everybody, Marcus of Shattered Sun. New music coming in 2020. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.